Welcome to Tech Talk Tuesday, brought to you by Idaho Public Television and Montana PBS.
All right, good afternoon. Welcome to Tech Talk Tuesday, brought to you by Montana PBS and Idaho Public Television. I'll introduce everybody here today. I'll introduce myself, and then I'll let our two teacher guests introduce themselves. My name is Nikki Vredenberg, and I'm the Director of Education at Montana PBS.
Hi, so my name is Sarah Dahl, like Nikki stated, and I am a tech integration specialist with the Livingston School District. I do tech integration with teachers K through 12. This is actually a new position that was created just this year, and they hired me to do it. I was originally a high school English teacher, and I've been an English teacher for the last 14 years, and then moved into tech integration. And a lot of this is based on my working with Nikki and my training with Nikki in Montana PBS, that I've been able to be a good fit in this position.
I am Amanda Rapstead, and I teach fourth grade at HECQUA in Belgrade. This is my third or fourth year in fourth grade. I don't even remember. I feel like last year was like 7 years, and so now I'm like totally gone on how many years I've been there. But I've taught first grade and I've taught third grade as well. And I've had a passion for integrating technology in my classroom for a long time. So, I've done Hyperdocs with fourth graders, but I've also done it with my first graders.
The first thing is, what is a Hyperdoc? And it is a digital lesson plan, basically. It's meant to be self-paced. It's an interactive document, which could be a Google Doc, or it could be Microsoft Word. It could be Google Slides. It could be PowerPoint. Whatever platform you're using or that your students are comfortable using. Very layman's terms, it's a document with some links, and the students click on the links and it takes them to things. But it's a bit more complex than that, because it also requires that students do things. So they might click on a link to watch a video and then come back to the document and list 3 things they learned from the video, and then go down and click on another link and read an article and write a letter to the author of the article with 3 questions they had about that topic. So it's meant to be a self-paced activity that allows the students to explore content on their own. So when we think about teaching in a digital world, a lot of times as teachers, and I know when I first started teaching, I thought I was the one that was supposed to deliver all of the content to my students, and that they couldn't take in anything if it didn't come out of my mouth. And we're learning that that's actually only one way a student can learn content. There's actually a lot of research to support that a student digging into the content on their own and exploring it on their own, either before a teacher introduces the topic or as part of the teacher's overall lesson plan or unit plan, allows them to understand and work with that content and engage with it in a deeper level than they would have if we just stood in the front of the room and talked to them. A great place to get started, if you're just learning about Hyperdocs or you want to take your skills a bit further, is picking up this book, the Hyperdoc Handbook, which is written by Lisa Highfield, Kelly Hilton, and Sarah Landis. I highly recommend just Googling their names as well, because they've talked on a lot of podcasts and a lot of webinars. I've been able to see, I got to see Kelly Hilton speak at a conference a few years ago. They have some really interesting stories about what led them to writing this book and to creating Hyperdocs. And it's worth listening to their story firsthand. But this is a really great step-by-step guide for how to get started, where to get started, how to manage it, how to assess using them. And you can buy it on Amazon. And in the slides, I made the book a hyperlink, and it'll take you to how to purchase it on Amazon. Go to my next one. So true Hyperdoc is, I used to say a Hyperdoc is like a Webquest. Remember Webquest back in the early 2000s? And it was like a scavenger hunt that kids went on. And it's a little bit like that. But where a Webquest was mostly clicking and reading and just following a path of links, A Hyperdoc is different because it's click, read, watch, view, and then engage. And it follows a little bit more pedagogy as far as having the kids interact with the content. It might have them create something at the end. It might have them collaborate with their peers at the end. But the biggest piece is that it is self-paced. So when you design it so that you can give it to a student digitally, whether it's in Google Classroom or or just sharing it in the Google Drive, and they open it up and they just start working their way through the content piece by piece. And when they're all finished at the end, there's usually some cumulative activity that they can do, something they can create to show their knowledge and to show what they've learned. Sarah, Amanda, do you have anything to add in my description of Hyperdocs? Make sure I didn't miss anything.
One thing, and Nikki totally touched on this, but I would love to reinforce is Hyperdocs are student-centered. Like, they are about how the student is working through that, what the student is engaging in, what the student is exploring, and they're doing it at their pace. And that's kind of the beauty of them, is that it's about how the student is engaging in the learning. Just like she had said, you know, even myself in the early stages of my teaching, I felt that same way. Like, in order to get them to learn and to move through the content, it had to come out of my mouth. It had to. But I've found that in using Hyperdocs and then expanding, you know, how I use them, that students engage in it even at an even deeper level than what I thought I was pushing them to do, because I was speaking the words to try to get them to do it. And so that's what I think is really beautiful about Hyperdocs, is how student-centered they are.
And I think, I don't know if you're going to talk about this, Nikki, but I think the beauty of this is that, you know, you create this and it has all of your content and what the students need to, you know, learn and discover, and they're working. And as they're doing that, it frees you up to be able to work with students. So one of my examples that I'm going to share with you is one that I built for narrative writing for 4th grade. And honestly, it's like, I have so much more time to work with students than if I were like, okay, I'm presenting this lesson and now everybody's doing this. And then I'm presenting this lesson. You know, if I'm like, okay, you know, here's the content, you start working through it, then that whole time during writing, I'm free to go around and like work with students or pull a group if I need to. So I think that that's where, you know, kind of the buy-in for teachers is that it really frees up your time. Like, once you have it created, you know, that's obviously some time on the front, or if you borrow one or whatever, but it frees up your time in the classroom to actually spend time working with the students. So I think that that's, for me, one of the things that really makes this such a powerful tool.
Yeah, that's a great point. That if you do work with small groups or anything like that, it is an independent task in the classroom. So there are a few main places you can go to get started using these that are all free, which is exciting. The first one is this website called hyperdocs.co, and this was created by the authors of this book. And so you can go to this site and you can go to Start, and within Start, it'll give you a nice, here's what a Hyperdoc is and here's how to get started. But then I go to Find and Templates. And so this has a few basic Hyperdoc lessons. So I think this is a great place to start, is getting on this basic template, which it's all built for you. And then all you have to do is type in your content and link it up. So this is a single Google Doc. It uses the Engage, Explore, Explain, Apply, Share, Reflect model. Now, I will say the first couple Hyperdocs I did with students, I had fewer steps than this. I did Engage, Explore, Explain, and that was it. And just like when you're first teaching kids to do things, you want to do it in those little bite-sized chunks. You don't want it to feel overwhelming. You know, a kid will open up an assignment, and if they see more than 3 steps, they can shut down. So sometimes it's good to just maybe delete some of these last ones and just get started with the first few steps. And the way this document works is all the symbols are there, and then all you would need to do, it says insert a video. So you type in your brief instructions, insert the link to the video. you would make a copy of this document and just edit it for your purposes. And so that's a great example of a basic Hyperdoc. They've also got one, and I know Sarah likes these, the 5E framework, that takes it a little bit further and takes the engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. So thinking that we're going to take kids through these levels of thinking, so that, and this is a nice framework when you're building these activities too. It can be real easy to just copy and paste links and realize that you're not having them do anything more but engage with the content. And so having to rethink it with, okay, what would elaborate look like with this? How would they elaborate on their learning or on this topic when we get to this step? So that's another template that you would just go to File, make a copy, and then you've got your own copy for you to edit and then share with your students. In addition to the templates, they've also got some that are pre-made in different topic areas. So when you go to Find and you come down to Hyperdocs, then they've got them categorized. And this is teachers all over the world who have donated their time and their talents to create these different Hyperdocs. And so you can come in here and go to templates or samples, and they have them listed by topic. So if you're looking for elementary, if you're looking for Halloween, if you're looking for specifically 5th grade or things about read aloud, they're all grouped under here. So Halloween is past, but we can go ahead, and I know that these were popular a couple of weeks ago, that this is a list of all the Halloween Hyperdocs that other people have made. And I'm sure you could probably find the same for Thanksgiving and Christmas and all of that. So those are a great place to get started. And sometimes you don't have to reinvent the wheel, just use one that somebody else made and check it closely to make sure all the links work and to make sure it does what you want it to do, or it's not too long or overwhelming. I made a mistake, kind of a rookie mistake the first time I used one with my 4th and 5th graders. Was I got it, I didn't really look at it that closely, and assigned it in Google Classroom and realized it was really, really long, like ridiculously long, that they got, several steps into it and got really overwhelmed because there was just so much to it that I could have easily cut out a few of the activities. So that's a mistake I would recommend not making. The other thing you can do is this link on this slide. Whoop, I went too far. This link on this slide is the link to a Padlet that was published by Matt Miller from Ditch That Textbook. That was just a crowd share of, he put a social media post out there and said, share your favorite Hyperdocs. And people, again, from all over the world had just added Hyperdocs and things to this Padlet that you can use and find things. This is a little bit less searchable and easy to find things. But as it pops up here, you can kind of see all of the different types of Hyperdocs that people have shared. And then I also recommend on social media. So if you are on Facebook, you can ask to be added to a closed Facebook group for Hyperdocs. And in that group, people are also sharing the templates that they've made. And I also see people post things like, I'm looking for a template to go with the book, The One and Only Ivan. Has anybody created something? And 6 people will share a link. It's amazing how open and sharing people are in that group. You can do the same thing on Twitter, that if you just search hashtag Hyperdocs on Twitter, and a lot of people will share things that they've made on Twitter. And again, you can just post a tweet looking for Hyperdocs about the American Revolution, and people will get on there and share. I think the spirit of Hyperdocs is that I'll make it and create it for my group, and then you take it and modify it for your group. And that's really a cool thing about the community that it's grown around this movement. And thanks to everybody for joining us, and we appreciate your time. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Amanda.